Travis Wing Goodsell. Well, if you are new, I've got lots of videos. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, their prophets, have come out in response to my discovery, not claims, discovery, that the Book of Mormon is coded with a specific message for a specific date, period of time. And their response was, we're going to continue to lie about the church history. And so, as we're counting down to conference for April, got less than a month, as we are literally 4 weeks away from conference on the 3rd and 4th of April. Gotta sneeze. Oy vey, man. Whoosh. It is important to understand that I was born and raised Mormon, and I was led to believe the lies taught about the church, about who we are and who we were. And I've come to learn for myself that Mormonism is not true. Anybody who knows Joseph Smith's history, when Joseph goes and talks to his mom, you know the reference I'm joking about. And so it's necessary, therefore, to present a series of evidences against the church, because the church wants to put forth false witnesses to justify maintaining the lies about the history, about the origins of doctrine, the administration, their current existence, and reasons for what they're doing. And so we can't let them do that. History is written by the winners. If we lose and the church wins the war of misinformation and disinformation, no one will ever learn the truth about the church and its origins. And so the big video was titled about how the church will abolish the Book of Mormon for conference. They've already been doing it. Under Benson, there was a surge for Book of Mormon worship and adherence and reading. I was in early morning seminary at the time, and our class was given the assignment to read the Book of Mormon, and those of us who did, and I was one of them, got our picture taken, and it was sent to President Benson so that he can go, yeah, I got them under my control. And yeah, he did the Youth of the Noble Birthright. That was his first act of unrighteous dominion. Again, if you know Mormonism, you know section 121. It is the nature and disposition of almost all men, as soon as they get a little authority, as they suppose, they begin to exercise unrighteous dominion. Thus, his first act of unrighteous dominion. To the youth of the noble birthright, where he claims that pregnancy is a despicable, deplorable, whatever word he uses, sin. And now, I don't think he meant it that way, but he's quoting Kimball in his Miracle of Forgiveness, who was quoting Elder Packer as an apostle way back in early days. And so Benson is the one responsible for making it official. Women who are pregnant are a sin. I don't know how you procreate without getting a woman pregnant, but leave it to Benson to quote Packer, who was unfamiliar with the English grammar. And so the church's corruption is a little more serious than misuses of the English grammar. I mean, we're talking cover-ups of crime. And in a trial, it's necessary to present evidence. You can't just put witnesses on the stand and that's your whole case, because it's not going to fly. You have to have witnesses to support the evidence. The evidence is the main thrust of the case. And the church just doesn't follow it. They claim, well, we're a religion, we don't have to have evidence. We don't live in reality, and we don't want to live in reality. And so the evidence, therefore, as it's still made available to people, is important in understanding what the truth is and why the church currently is doing whatever they can to distract and deceive away from the truth. Why? What's so important to keep a secret about the church history? Because all good organized religions have an origin story to them. Somebody one day decided, you know what, I'm going to start a religion. And so over time, you see that the origin story gets mythologicalized as the truth becomes more of a parable story, a metaphor, symbol, etc. The church is doing that to Joseph Smith's history, but in reverse. Joseph Smith's history was coded, and the church is claiming, oh, no, it's real. Angels from outer space, a Christian Jesus of flesh and bone, actually came to Joseph. No, that was code. So, yeah. And obviously it takes far too many days of videos, weeks of videos. As you can see by my channel video number amount on just this channel. Got over 700 before the church had YouTube shut me down on the other channel. And then they shut me down on my website. And they shut me down on Amazon. And so giving that introduction, let's go over translation. Joseph Smith clearly distinguished translation from revelation. Prophet, seer, revelator, translator. That's the first president, the president of the church. Do I need to show it to you? Section 107 of the Doctrine and Covenants. And yet, you will listen to conference, they don't talk about translation. And Nelson, in the last conference in October, tried to demonstrate to Mormons his translator powers. Ooh, he botched it big time. He got set up by Hebrew scholars, even. And so, yeah, it has nothing to do with let God prevail. That's a lie. The church is still perpetuating that lie from October conference on their website right this very moment. They're reminding Mormons, Nelson is a fraud, but let God prevail. You can't just make up your own definitions and translations. Translation is a science. Decipherment is a science. And the church wants nothing to do with translation. They have no intention of providing new scripture. They have no intention of correcting the scripture we already have. They have the Joseph Smith papers. They're not changing the canonized version of church history. They're keeping the status quo. The publications of the Joseph Smith papers, you've got to be rich to be able to buy them. So again, we see where their priorities are. And as I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, that freaked the church out, that they wanted me excommunicated. I escaped excommunication. So then they attacked with numerous attempts to assassinate me, which have all failed so far. With decipherment of Paleo-Hebrew, I then deciphered Egyptian petroglyphs. That in the dictionaries, the grammars, none of them incorporate the characters of the petroglyphs. They only do the text, because Egyptologists believe that only the text is what is to be translated. They are wrong. Thus, I deciphered Egyptian petroglyphs because they didn't know that you were supposed to translate those two. As a result, I found out Joseph Smith is a translator of Biblical Hebrew and Egyptian petroglyphs. That's as far as I can go. I can't say he translated the Book of Mormon. In fact, I'm the one who discovered Joseph had nothing to do with any passage in the Book of Mormon. And so, with translation, you have to identify patterns in text or petroglyphs. And just like we do with our language that we take for granted, unless we learn other languages, then we start to recognize the pattern. With your Latin-based European languages, for example, we can identify a shared pattern of translation. You have masculine, feminine endings, grammatical terminations, and oftentimes shared words with the different phonemes or vowels. So Jesus in Spanish is Jesus in corrupted English, which came from the Greek Yeshua, Jesus, and then Joshua is the Hebrew, Yeshua or Yeshua, depending on whether you want the full name or the original name of the God at the beginning. And so evidence against the church for translation is clear. The question is, why are they hiding? Why are they trying to claim that it's not translation, it's revelation, which is already there, therefore it's repeated? Why are they not coming out and saying, you know what, this King James Version of the Bible is crap. We're retranslating it to make it a better version. Why? Why not bring the Apocrypha back? Why did Kimball take it out in 1979? And, well, I know the answer, but this is just one example for you. I'm hoping future videos, if I continue on this path, see if I can make it a series. I'll try to make them quick, like 5 minutes. But I've demonstrated in a video already how Joseph Smith translated Paleo-Hebrew. I've published how Joseph Smith translated Egyptian petroglyphs. But the question is, why can't Nelson do it? He's supposed to be the president of the church. He's in the position, but they won't even acknowledge he is a translator. All Mormons just assume it. And here I am, a lowly member who's been cast out, is actual translator instead. So think about that. Make sure you let people know. We've got to get the word out. I know John Dehlin is upset with me because I called him out for purposely trying to create a cult for ex-Mormons. And his running away rather than saying, oh, my bad, I didn't realize that this is what I was doing. Let's work together to take down the church. Nope, he ghosted me and is back to his usual tricks of trying to deceive you who are ex-Mormon who watch his channel. And he went over View of the Hebrews with some guy who's supposedly an expert, and they're going to talk about the influence on the Book of Mormon. There was none. But it does show that Smith Sr. was involved with Congregationalists, of which Ethan Smith was a Congregationalist preacher in Vermont. That's the connection people need to focus on, rather than trying to stretch the View of the Hebrews being in the Book of Mormon. Not going to find it. And there's already a guy who did a computer program to linguistically identify plagiarism. No, none. So stop pushing the View of the Hebrews theory. It's a fake theory. There are others, but not View of the Hebrews.